my name is Jay Janice. I am a Christian business and leverage strategist. And today I'm so excited to have Lisa. She's going to come to us today and talk about a little bit of something about one of the things we need as Christian business owners. And so without further ado, Lisa, please introduce yourself and let us know what you're going to teach us today.
Hi, everyone. I am Lisa. Some people call me Miss Lisa. Others call me Miss Elsie. I'm the owner of Miss Elsie's Bookkeeping in Crowley, Texas. And I'm going to be talking to you today about mentorship.
So why mentorship? Why is that so important right now, especially as it relates to a Christian business owner?
Well, mentorship is so important because, oh my goodness, when it comes to people trying to start a brand new career and they're being promised the world, they expect to actually learn what they need to learn. And then we find out later on that our industry has let them down. So we need people to actually teach them the ropes and to teach them what it is that they need to do and help them through all of the struggles and the issues that they have that they can't seem to get through. There's hoops, there's hills, there's mountains, there's all of these different things that they're really struggling through and they just can't find the answers. And that's where we step in.
So when we talk about mentorship, I know like years ago, when I was trying to figure out business or just life in general, and it's like, there's no sign that says, hey, I'm a mentor, let me mentor you. So how does one, go about even finding a mentor? I find that that's challenging.
Well, it kind of happened by accident. I didn't know. I actually didn't know that this was an issue until just a few months ago. And I belong to all of these bookkeeping groups on Facebook. And so basically, I've been going on to all of these Facebook groups and I've been helping all of these people. And so if you're a bookkeeper and you belong to these bookkeeping groups and you don't have the answers and you've just really been struggling, you've been searching, you've been asking questions in other groups and you're not getting the answers, just keep on asking. And hopefully I will see it, or others that are also mentors will also see it and ultimately reach out and offer you the help that you need.
But doesn't that seem kind of like a gamble? So is it like no set process for one to go about a mentor? Is it just really, a trial and error type of thing? Like if they see someone that's doing good and they just reach out to say like, hey, I need some help. Could you help me? Is it something like that?
It is a trial and error. And unfortunately, for many of the brand new bookkeepers, they're discovering that they're getting the wrong answers because many of the people that are giving them the answers are also new bookkeepers that don't have the answers. And the other people that are helping them, or I shouldn't even say helping them, that are responding to them are other seasoned bookkeepers. If they're not actually giving them any sort of help, they're actually going on there and they're criticizing them for actually asking for help. And I'm sure and I'm sure everybody knows that when we get criticized, we just don't want to ask the question. We just want to bury ourselves in our shells, and suddenly we isolate ourselves, and it makes us feel stupid. It makes us feel dumb for asking the questions. It makes us question ourselves and whether we should even be in this field. And so I actually created a group, a safe group for people to come to where they can ask these questions and not be criticized.
When we talk about mentorship, I think that's why a lot of people start looking for coaches, because when they are just asking general questions, they are criticized or they don't get support. So, can you talk to us a little bit about what the difference is between a mentor and a coach outside the obvious of one is getting paid, right? And then even some people charge for mentorship. So, if you have some insight on that, I want to talk to people about it based on your experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, coaches are typically going to get paid uh, for, from my understanding anyway, they're going to get paid for a set amount of, we'll say a set amount of weeks or even months. It's a large time frame where they will be essentially working with you one-on-one or even in a group setting, actually teaching you the ropes and getting you through several, we'll actually go through the bookkeeping just a tiny bit, where we're going to go through chapter through chapter. We'll start with the basics and then we'll go through the intermediates, and ultimately end up doing a challenge where you'll do a case study, and ultimately once you pass that case study, you graduate with a certificate. I'm assuming that's what a coach does. I've never been a coach. So for myself, being a mentor, I do charge for mentorship. But what I do is I charge for sessions. And what those sessions entail is 1 hour sessions. And I actually have session packages. So they can purchase 1 hour sessions where it's 1 session, 2 sessions, or 4 sessions. Yes, we skipped 3. We even have a corporate mentorship package where the new-ish bookkeepers who already own a practice but may not be completely confident in their skills and may still have questions, actually have the ability to work with me one-on-one up to 10 hours per month for as long as they need me. And it is one-on-one on Zoom or on the phone, however they actually need to work with me. And it is giving them the answers that they need to work through problems, to work through different scenarios that they have with their clients. Maybe it's a client problem that they have. A client is treating them a certain way, and they need to find out if this is normal and how they should respond. So it is just all of these different scenarios that come with bookkeeping. And then, of course, there's also knowledge. So we work through everything. And if it helps them, then that's wonderful. They usually end up coming back. So that is the one-on-one mentorship. It's working with them literally one-on-one, giving them the help that they need at that time.
Yeah, I like that. Because depending on your industry, those terms can change, right? When we talk about mentorship or coaching, and that's why I wanted to hear your standpoint, because it is different. You'll find it means something totally different in a different industry. And from my experience, just being a business strategist, coaching, as a coach personally, like my job is to help you get a desired result, right? And when we talk about mentorship, I don't charge for mentorship, because for me, mentorship, I'm not doing any work. Mentorship is like I'm kind of leading. I'm like kind of telling you the steps you need to go do. Like, hey, you should check this out. You need to go read this, or, oh, you need to restructure this, or, oh, it's more so a feedback type of thing. And it's up to them to hold themselves accountable. But with coaching with me, it's like I'm holding you accountable to ensure that you're getting the results that you said you're going to get. And so for me, that's really the difference difference and why I don't charge for mentorship, because mentorship is more so people are, trying to get clarity, some type of clarity on, like, if they're on the hot or cold, warm, like, hey, am I on the right track, or what do you think, type of deal, and so I think that's a little bit different from picking someone's brain, if you will. But I do think there is a difference, depending upon the industry. So anyone who's watching this, just be mindful of what we're talking about, depending upon your industry and what you do. Mentorship and coaching could look very differently. I understand that some people charge for mentorship, some people don't. Some people charge for coaching and some people don't. And so you have to be really mindful of that, when talking about those different things.
Yes. And I've had a lot of people asking me if I would be willing to add certain things to what I do. And specifically, I've actually had some bookkeepers and they've answered their own questions and didn't realize it. And the question was, I don't understand why it is that when I apply for this job, why is it that they're going for all the other bookkeepers and they're not willing to bargain on someone that has literally no bookkeeping experience or knowledge? And my response, of course, is, hello. So I have had them ask me to create case studies so that they can gain some sort of experience, real world experience, because they're discovering that in today's world, the way that it is now, they're just not getting it. And let me just give you a brief history. So pre-2020, the majority of the bookkeepers, that the ones that actually got their education, they got it from traditional schools, so college, business schools. Everyone else that did not get traditional education, they got it from being grandfathered in. So they were hired for a company and they got promoted. So they were always taught by someone who knew what they were doing. So they were always trained by someone that knew better than they did, and they worked themselves up. And so regardless, all of us bookkeepers, pre-2020, always, we have anywhere between 5 and 30 years of experience. I myself I've got 21 years of experience. And then March hit, March 2020, COVID. And suddenly you've got, I don't know what, probably, well, we'll just say millions of people lost their jobs. Everyone is suddenly forced to stay home. And so you've got one of three scenarios. Either people are now learning to homeschool their children for the first time, or they are binge watching Netflix, or they're surfing the internet. The ones surfing the internet are depressed, and they're all wondering what in the world they're going to do next. And so overnight, you had all of these online programs, or all of these companies, or even individuals come up with an idea of, hey, I'm going to take advantage of this situation and create an online program and say, I'm going to take what knowledge I have and say, I'm going to create this online program and charge this amount of money and say, I'm going to guarantee you the world and tell you that you're going to learn everything that you need to know to start a brand new career and actually be able to start a new business. Bookkeeping is always the one that people gravitate towards because that's the one that you have to have the least amount of capital to start. And so you're being charged anywhere between $60 all the way up to around $3,000 to learn all of this. The problem is that you're being taught in video modules of that are 10 minutes to an hour long, and it's about a total of 8 hours of videos. You can't learn bookkeeping, all of bookkeeping, in 8 hours. Most people, it takes them years to learn bookkeeping. After 21 years of experience, I still learn something brand new. Still. So, and I have worked my butt off to get where I am today. The problem is these people have bought their way into these programs, and after being promised the world and being promised that once they become certified in these programs and that everybody knows what this program is, that they can get that high ticket job that they've always wanted, or they can land those high ticket clients that no one else can get. But they get that certificate and find that, yeah, everybody knows who it is, but nobody wants to associate with them because they're being taught the wrong way. And they know about as much as they did when they went into it. So these people, unfortunately, are now realizing it. And the people that are actually succeeding in it are those that actually had some knowledge beforehand. The people that are not are those that went in completely brand new. And so those are the people that I am helping. And those that are actually succeeding, kudos to you. But I just hope that the people that I am helping, that they're actually gaining some confidence and getting somewhat ahead, and hopefully they're actually gaining some knowledge.
You know, like you said, something like really important. And it's you know, especially when you're looking for help and you're desperate for help, especially like COVID was one of those times when it happened and people were desperate for help, and a lot of people took advantage of it. Like they just put themselves out there like they were experts and knew what they were doing, and they really didn't, and as a result caused a lot of harm to some people, right? And so that brings me to my next question on how can we qualify people, especially it's so hard I think to do when you're online. And that's why I hate that COVID happened, because I think when it's something about when you can get in front of someone, you can tell if they're full of crap or not. You can tell if they really know what they're talking about, right? But it's like with this virtual stuff sometimes and with on the phone, you really don't know what you don't know, right? And so how can people seek help and seek out programs to support what they're doing without being, you know, jaded or taken advantage of? Is there some steps that they can ensure? Like, is there like an association they could look up people? Like, what are some things that they should look for to qualify people?
There are some associations. There is the Bookkeepers Association that they can look up. There is a yearly membership fee. I think it's $100 a year. And they actually have different lessons that you can take. And we're talking basic bookkeeping, we're talking QuickBooks Online certification, and we go all the way up to licensure. There's also the Certified Public Bookkeepers Association. So there are multiple different places that you can go if you are looking for an accredited association in order to gain your knowledge. And yes, they do charge for each and every one of the programs that they have. Some of them they do offer for free. Some of them, you know, they'll offer like Excel classes, and a lot of those will be for free. And sometimes they'll hold specials where you can get like your QuickBooks Online certification, and the special for this month will be 40% discount. And sometimes they'll offer that for free. So That's a good place that you can go to. Everybody recognizes those two associations. Um, Others is just really do your research and look at reviews before actually signing up for some of the programs, and make sure that people are actually succeeding after they graduate from these programs, rather than finding out that the only people that are succeeding are those that actually had experience beforehand.
And I think that's important. Like I think everyone starts out somewhere, right? But I think it's important to be honest about your results and where you are. You know what I'm saying? Like no one started out the gate like, hey, I'm an expert, right? But I do think when you're not an expert, your prices should, reflect that. I do think, you do need some of the work you do needs to be free so you can get those results, and that's my issue with people who go straight out the gate like, hey, I'm an expert, I'm charging you $1,500. And I'm like, wait a minute, where's your results at? Who have you helped? And so I don't want people to get discouraged like, oh my gosh, I can't really start a business because I have no results. There's ways to do it, but do it with integrity. Don't be out here lying to people saying like, hey, $3,000 program, sign up because I can help you get to X, Y, and Z. And in reality, you're really hurting people. And I think when we're talking about bookkeeping, that's serious because you're dealing with the IRS. People can sue you, come back later and sue you. I think that's a huge issue. People could put liens on your property. I think it's just a big mess to just not be out there doing things that's not in integrity. I know it's so hard online because that's what some coaches promote, right? They're like, just say you do this or just embellish it a little bit. And there's dangers to that. Not only do you hurt your brand's reputation, you can really be in some serious trouble, especially with money.
Definitely. And one of the things that they always tell us as bookkeepers is that you have to be insured no matter what. And each state is a little bit different as far as how much you have to be insured for. Some states require you to be bonded. But regardless, you have to have knowledge. And in a way, mentorship is almost, and it sounds horrible, but mentorship is like I'm helping myself, because you've got brand new bookkeepers that are, some of them are already helping clients. And I have had brand new bookkeepers already helping clients asking me questions they shouldn't be asking. And if they're asking those questions, they shouldn't be helping clients. And it's a huge warning sign, because at some point, mistakes are going to happen, and not just little mistakes, some major, major mistakes. And that's when the insurance starts stepping in. And at some point, the insurance is going to stop covering you. And at that point, the business owners are going to stop trusting bookkeepers. So the biggest, and kind of, backtracking to your previous question, is when you are searching for any sort of education, always search for something where you actually have to practice. Do not search for something where you can actually just watch a video, because you will never, unless you are an amazing learner and that's how you learn, you are never going to learn that way. You have to get your practice in. U.S. Career Institute is actually a really good place. You do it on your own terms. It only costs, about $2,500 or so. And you get everything that you need. You get textbooks, the ebooks that you need. You get your certificate once you graduate. It is recognized. You get the knowledge that you need. And I have taken this course as a refresher, and it is a really good course. So make sure that you gravitate towards those that actually have practice that you have to do. And it's always best to have some that have textbooks or ebooks that you have to download.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think, pretty much, the practice thing is important. I think a lot of people push like you need this certificate or this licensure, but those things mean nothing if you don't have experience. It's like being an attorney. There's plenty of people I know who are attorneys and they don't know what the heck they're doing. And then you have people who just have a law degree and they're better than licensed attorneys, because they either, interned somewhere or they, like you said, mentored under someone. And so I do think that's why mentorship, and correct me if I'm wrong, is important, because you get that experience, you get that practice. And I would even suggest, some people, even see if you can assist someone. That's another form of mentorship. Say like, hey, like I'm new to this, can I just help you do some of your clients work and you show me how to do it? And I mean, like for me, when I've done that before with so many people who do what I do, they're like, hey, can I just help with your system so I can learn how to do it? Can I assist? And I think that's the simplest way to like get mentorship, is look at it from an aspect of like, because when you're coming from mentorship, like I said, a lot of people don't charge for it, but I think those who do charge for it, if you come at it from an angle like Lisa, because I know you're completely busy now, if someone's like, hey, can I do your emails for you? You'll be like, sure. Like, can I manage your calendar? You'll be like, yes, please. So you're not stressed out about it. Mo's not stressed out about it. When you could go on vacation and things like that. So I think that's important to think of it, mentorship like that. Like, how can you add value to the person that's going to pour into you? Right. Especially if you don't have the actual money to pay for support, just look at it like this. What can you do to support them so they can pour into you so you can learn what you need to do? Like, even for me, I'm going to be doing something completely different, and I'm actually going to start mentoring under someone else. But what that mentorship looks like is that I'm actually going to be assisting them. And I do think with getting mentorship, I think you have to humble yourselves. And I think sometimes a lot of us, we want to go straight to say, hey, I'm a boss, I'm a CEO. But I do think you have to humble yourselves and say, like, I don't know what I don't know. I need help. And I think when you are working under someone, you can learn more, whether it's an assistant role, an admin role. It doesn't matter. You're going to learn something on how the business runs. And I think that's so important. So if any of you are looking for bookkeeping support, you better contact Lisa and see if you could be her personal assistant, because she needs it.
Oh, I sure do. I'm kind of wondering how in the world. You know what? I just had to create a calendar a couple of days ago in order to keep track of my own lunch breaks, when I'm supposed to concentrate on my own books, and, and dividing my time between my clients, my mentorships, everything else, because I just I'm surprised I didn't schedule sleep. So it's been a struggle for me, and something as a mentor. It's not just the person that's coming to us that has to humble themselves. We as mentors have to humble ourselves as well. And so, I have two people that I work with that are my mentors as well, that I schedule out to help other people when I don't have time. And they've been fantastic. But they asked me, what do we do when they ask us a question that we can't answer? And I tell them, you simply tell them, I don't know. I'll get back to you. And we have a weekly meeting and we talk about the things that they can't answer. We talk about it amongst ourselves. We have a confidentiality agreement where anything beyond that Zoom call it stays. It doesn't go anywhere else. And we get back to that person and say, hey, I spoke with my mentors. I just had someone a couple of days ago. And it was a scenario that I have not had to deal with before. And I went to my mentors and I said, okay, I've got a scenario I need to run by you. My mentee is asking me about this. What do you think? And they said, okay, yeah. One of them said, yeah, I've dealt with that before. This is what you need to do. And so I got back to her. I said, okay, I've got your answer for you. And so we really need to humble ourselves and let them know we don't have all the answers. You know, there are so many industries out there. We can't possibly have worked for every single one of them. There's going to be a question about an industry that we've never worked for before or worked with. So at some point, there's going to be a question that we simply cannot answer. But be rest assured that we know how to do our research and we ask questions. So no matter what, we'll get back to you.
I think that's good because I think, oftentimes a lot of people, they just overpromise and cannot deliver. And I think, especially with the realm of what you do, is like you said, there's just certain things that they cannot say that they can do just for legal implications of which bookkeeping and the difference between being a CPA and all those different things. And I think a lot of people get themselves in trouble with that, with their business, is they overpromise something that they can't even promise from the get-go. And so that's why I think it's I would dare say it's vital for people to have a mentor. And if you don't have a mentor, then you need to find a coach in your industry who has proven results. And this is how you know if a coach or a mentor is legit or not, is when you ask them like, hey, who, they'll direct you to their testimonial page. And I mean, you're free to reach out to those people who name you see. I've had people contact people that's giving testimonials for me, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's the whole purpose of a review or testimony, so people can verify and fact check. And I just think we oftentimes get lazy. We sometimes like to go by word of mouth, but sometimes I've found like some people that I work with, I've had a great experience with, but when I refer those same people to other people, they've had terrible experiences. So I always tell people, do your due diligence and reach out, because, my experience was different, but I had a great one. I didn't have one like yours, so I don't know what to tell you. And so that's why I think asking questions, making sure you ask the right questions is important. I just think just looking at someone's social media following and their pretty graphics is not enough to qualify them as someone who could support you. And I think a lot of us get caught up in that shiny object syndrome. We're like, oh, this looks so pretty. They talk well on social media. Then when they start working on your stuff, you realize like, oh man, they're complete idiots. Like I could have did this. And so that's why we have to do our due diligence. And I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to mentorship experience, being, humbling yourselves, putting your pride aside. I think that was important. And it's really just being intentional about who you have support you. Because I think that's important too, because whether we realize it or not, we pick up the habits of people who we work with. And so you don't want to have to break a bad habit of, you learning how to do books one way. Now you got to completely relearn it because you've been doing it the incorrect way. That's a lot of time, energy, and effort. And it's costing you money that you could actually be running your own business, but because you have to relearn something because you were taught wrong, right? And I find a lot of people are doing that even with me. With their businesses, they pay 20, 30, $40,000 with a coach. And I get in there and I look at what's going on and I correct the issue in like 30 minutes. And they're like, I paid thousands of dollars for this. And they just kept giving me the runaround. I tell people sometimes you cannot get caught up in the follower account and things like that, because oftentimes those people don't have results. And I mean, if they do, they will have it. You just ask like, hey, or test them out, ask them a simple question, test people out to make sure that they can help you. And when you realize they can't, then you run. Run for the hills and don't look back. But I do think like with COVID happening, there's a lot of scam artists out there. And I see it more so with taxes, the bookkeeping, the coaching world, the fitness world. I'm seeing it a lot more so. People posting other people's clients' results and trying to pose it as theirs. So it's all crazy. And so, what else, if anything, that we should take note of with mentorship? I think we talked about a lot to take in consideration. I do think the practical application piece was so important for us to keep in mind when looking for someone to help you.
Definitely. I I do have actually an entry form when you actually initially go on to the site. I actually use a calendaring system, and it asks you a set of questions, and it's just very basic questions, your name, your phone number, things like that. But it specifically asks you, how can I help you today? What do you need help with? And what is the problem that you're having? So that way I kind of know what I'm getting myself into. I know how to prepare in order to help that person out. And so in order to get to that, they can go to Miss Elsie's Bookkeeping, the number 4, mentorship.as.me.
And I'll have those links in the description box as well for them as well if they missed that. So most
Okay.
definitely. So Lisa, I want to thank you. I think that was so good because I think even now, we're still kind of like in COVID. We having ice storms, snowstorms right now. And so I do think, we are still seeing people start and launch businesses. And I tell people, just to be careful. You need support. We all need support, no matter what stage you are in business. We all need each other at some point, but it's like you said, putting our pride aside and finding the right people with experience.
Yes.
So we're going to say that again. Experience is the key. I think that's where a lot of people mess up and waste a lot of time and money. We don't want you wasting any money. So if you're looking for, specifically, if you are here and you are a bookkeeper looking for a mentor, Lisa has an amazing community. I've seen it. And it's grown beautifully. She is a beautiful soul. She knows what she's talking about. Our first meeting, she told me, I've been working with a CPA who I wasn't even supposed to be working with, and you don't know what you don't know. And I've been in business for almost 7+ years, and I've had a CPA that wasn't in my state doing my taxes, and I had no clue that they're supposed to be in your state. Or licensed, credentialed in multiple states, and this particular person wasn't. And I wouldn't have known that, had I not talked to someone with experience that knew that, right? And so it doesn't matter how many years you have, you can always learn something, and so that's why it's important to ask questions. That's why it's important to book discovery consultations with people who could support you in your business growth, because I didn't know that until I talked to Lisa, and she was like, no, you weren't supposed to be working with somebody out of state. I was like, oh, really? And I was just devastated because I didn't know, and I found this person through someone who's very popular that recommended, the CPA. But little did I know that. And then when I did research too and called the IRS, they was like, no, they have to be licensed and credentialed in your states. The different states, if they have multiple, then they have to be licensed and bonded and insured in different states. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that. And that's not really common knowledge to somebody in business unless you're working with a bookkeeper who's telling you like, okay, you got to take this to a CPA, and then they can direct you to a CPA in your state if your bookkeeper's in your state or whatnot, or tell you how to find the right person to support you. And so that's why we need mentorship in all different areas of your business. So you just don't need one mentor. You need different support in different areas, from, mental, spiritual, marketing, strategy, whatever it is. You need a mentor for all different components of your life and business as well.
Definitely. Definitely. And it goes way beyond, like you just said, it goes beyond just the one thing. People asking questions all the time about how do I get new clients? How do I market my business? And
Exactly.
things like that. And actually bringing in people kind of like with this, doing interviews and keeping them on video where it's actually helping the new bookkeepers that are trying to start businesses of their own, and giving them the ideas that they need in order to succeed.
Absolutely. So, Lisa, I want to thank you again for your time with sharing your knowledge. I know so many people are going to be blessed by the insights that you give them as it relates to their books. So, if you are a business owner and you don't know how to, reconcile your accounting, you don't know what profit and loss is, you want to get with Lisa, right? If you don't know what you're making each month and you don't know what expenses you have, get with Lisa. She's going to help get your life in order so you know what to focus on, so you can focus on your profit goals, figure out what you need to get rid of. If you're a bookkeeper, get with Lisa so she can show you how to properly do your books for your clients.
Yes.
And so without further ado, everything that Lisa mentioned in this interview, as far as her links and how to connect with her, is going to be in the description box. So make sure you connect with her on Facebook. Make sure you connect with her on Alignable. She's on there as well, and on Instagram. So without further ado, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.